Hello everyone, and welcome back to our story. Let's dive right back into the drama at Lambton. On the third morning of her visit, Elizabeth received 2 letters from Jane. Her aunt and uncle were out for a walk, so she eagerly sat down to read them. The first one started normally, with news from Longbourn, but the second half, written a day later, was frantic. It read, "Dear Lizzie, something most unexpected and serious has happened. It concerns poor Lydia. A letter came from Colonel Foster last night. She has run away to Scotland with Wickham. They plan to marry there. Imagine our surprise. It's a foolish match for them both, but at least he can't be after her for money, as he knows she has none. Kitty admits she knew Lydia was in love with him. Mother is terribly upset. I must go to her now." Before she could even process the shock, Elizabeth tore open the second letter. This one was even more alarming. "My dearest sister," Jane wrote, "I have terrible news. We now pray that a marriage between them has actually taken place, as we fear they haven't gone to Scotland at all. Colonel Foster is here. He says a friend of Wickham's believes Wickham never intended to marry Lydia. The Colonel tracked them to London, but they vanished. Our parents fear the worst. My father is going to London with the Colonel to find them. Dearest Lizzie, please come home as soon as you can. We need our uncle's help and advice desperately." "Oh, where is my uncle?" Elizabeth cried, rushing to the door. But just as she got there, Mr. Darcy walked in. Seeing her pale, distressed face, he stopped short. "Excuse me," she stammered. "I must find Mr. Gardner. There isn't a moment to lose." "Good God, what is the matter?" he cried. "Let me send a servant to find them." "You are not well enough to go yourself." Elizabeth knew he was right. Her legs were trembling. She sat down, and Darcy, unable to leave her in such a state, gently asked, "Shall I get you a glass of wine?" "You are very ill." "No, thank you," she replied. "I am just upset by some dreadful news from Longbourn." Then she burst into tears. When she could finally speak, she confessed, "My youngest sister has eloped with Mr. Wickham. You know his character. She has no money, no connections, nothing to tempt him to marry her. She is lost forever. And I could have prevented it. I knew how terrible he was. If only I had told my family." Darcy looked astonished. "I am shocked," he said, "and very sad. What is being done to find her?" Elizabeth explained that her father and uncle were going to London. "But I know it's hopeless," she said. "How can we find them? How can such a man be persuaded?" Darcy paced the room, a thoughtful, serious expression on his face. Elizabeth saw it, and her heart sank. She believed this family scandal was destroying any chance she had with him. Just as she was realizing she could have truly loved him, it seemed impossible. Darcy soon left, politely expressing his sympathy. When her aunt and uncle returned, Elizabeth quickly explained everything. They agreed to leave for Longbourn at once. In the carriage, Mrs. Gardner asked, "Lizzie, do you really think Wickham is so bad he wouldn't marry her?" "My dear Aunt," Elizabeth replied, "he has neither honesty nor honor. He lied wickedly about Mr. Darcy and his family. But does Lydia know this? No, that's the worst part. Jane and I decided not to make it public. Now, I know that was a terrible mistake. When they arrived at Longbourn, they found chaos. Mrs. Bennet was inconsolable, blaming everyone but herself. If only I had been allowed to take the family to Brighton, this wouldn't have happened, she wailed. And now Mr. Bennet will fight Wickham and be killed, and the Collinses will throw us out of our house. Mr. Gardner promised to go to London the next day to help. Oh, thank you, brother, Mrs. Bennet cried. Find them and make them marry, and tell Lydia not to buy wedding clothes until she's seen me. The next few days were a painful period of waiting. News from Meryton confirmed Wickham's terrible character. He'd left behind huge gambling debts and a string of broken hearts. A letter from Mr. Gardner confirmed they hadn't found the couple yet. Mr. Bennet was returning home, leaving his brother-in-law to continue the search. When Mr. Bennet arrived, he seemed calm, but he admitted to Elizabeth, "Lizzie, you were right. I should never have let her go to Brighton." Kitty, who was listening, chimed in, "Papa, if I went to Brighton, I'd behave much better." "You go to Brighton," her father cried. "No officer may ever enter this house again, and balls are forbidden." 2 days later, a letter arrived. Mr. Gardner had found them. They were not married, but Wickham had agreed to marry Lydia if Mr. Bennet would provide her with £100 a year. Their father explained that Wickham must have been paid a large sum of money up front by Mr. Gardner. While they worried about repaying the debt, Mrs. Bennet was overjoyed. "My dear, dear Lydia, married at 16. Mrs. Wickham, how well it sounds." Elizabeth now regretted telling Darcy everything. A connection to Wickham would surely make any relationship with him impossible. She was now certain that they could have been happy together, but it was too late. Lydia and Wickham were to be married in London. After some persuading, Mr. Bennet agreed to receive the newlyweds for a short visit before they moved north for Wickham's new army post. When the couple arrived at Longbourn, Elizabeth was shocked by their lack of shame. Lydia was laughing and joking, demanding congratulations. Wickham was as charming and agreeable as ever. They seemed completely unaware of the chaos they had caused. Elizabeth was disgusted. But then Lydia let something slip. While describing her wedding, she mentioned that Mr. Darcy had been there. Why on earth, Elizabeth wondered, would Mr. Darcy attend the wedding of two people he despised? Lydia, realizing her mistake, said it was a secret. Unable to rest without knowing the truth, Elizabeth immediately sent an urgent letter to her aunt in London, begging for an explanation. What could it all mean? What role did Darcy play in this whole affair? We'll have to find out next time. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to follow for the next part of the story.